Hey everybody, this is Bev Watson of Peach Street Restyle. I had a friend of mine ask about the product that I use for bleaching furniture. So I responded to her in the comments, but I wanted to do a quick video in case anybody else is interested in learning about this. So the reason to use bleach on wood is to pull out any stain that's left from the original finish and then to lighten the wood that's there. I have a table here, I'll show you. So this table started out as mahogany, very dark, and I stripped it. And I'm gonna do some more videos on stripping furniture because there's a lot of misleading information on the internet, and I can share with you what I use and what works and what doesn't work. So this had some stains on it, and I have bleached. I just did this last night before I saw Sarah's message. But it had a stain on it, and I'll put some pictures up too. So it had a stain, a really dark stain in this one area. And what that's from, if you can see it here, this is the light residual stain that's left. So what happens over time as finishes on furniture break down, the seal coat, meaning shellac, polyurethane, varnish, lacquer, whatever was put on top of that stain to protect the wood, that's your seal coat. That breaks down over time, and water can get through to the wood. That's where these stains come from. So the first step to be able to use a bleach is to remove the seal coat. So you're going to have to strip it. Like I said, more to come on that. But the product that I use is called wood bleach. And you'll see on the label it says oxalic acid. You can find this at most any local hardware store. Places like Walmart don't have it, so don't even bother looking there. But a local hardware store will have this wood bleach. Now it's a powder. You'll see it's a powder form. And what you're going to do is you're going to mix this. I have a measuring tool, and I use the product. I have a container that I use, and I just mark it oxalic. I know I use it for this. My first step is I want to usually mix up about 1 quart. You want to get hot water or very warm water and mix 4 tablespoons to 1 quart of water. And you're going to want to stir it up. I just get a stir stick or something and just stir it up to make sure it's dissolved. And then you can go to your piece of furniture and you can brush on that liquid. Now, I just did a buffet. I did not want to bleach the whole entire case of the buffet. So what I did was I taped off the parts that I did not want oxalic acid on. I taped that off with plastic and tape to protect it. I only wanted to bleach the very top surface. But as you're bleaching, that water's going to drip down and run down the case if you don't protect it somehow. So that's what I did. I just wrapped it in plastic, taped it off to protect it. This table, what I did with it, I chose not to tape it off because you can see I just have a very small surface. So what I did was I work outside in my gravel driveway when I do this. I just laid it in this position and then brushed on. And I use a big brush I keep just for this. I dip it in the water solution and brush it on. You have to do the whole surface. You can't just do where the stain is. It won't look right. So do the whole thing. I set a timer. I have a little timer I keep in my shop. Y'all know I'm usually doing 2 or 3 things at one time. This helps me not to forget about it. You absolutely could forget about it. Leave it. The longer the oxalic is on it, the more it's going to work. But what I do is I set my timer for 15 minutes. I go back and I do another application, and then I let it sit. You can leave it and let it sit overnight. Bring it in a protected area. You don't want to leave it out in your yard to get rained on. but bring it back in and just let it sit and dry. If it's not all gone, you can increase your measurements of this oxalic. My friend Stephanie shared with me this morning, you can go to a 1-to-3 ratio. So you can add more of this into your already mixed up batch and keep going. Brush it on, let it sit, let it dry. Then you're going to rinse it. And this is key. This stuff dries in crystallized form, and you'll be able to see it on the top of the wood. It just looks like a white crystal substance. If you sand that and you have not removed all of that oxalic acid, you're going to start coughing like crazy because it becomes airborne. So be careful. Make sure you rinse it. So I just get a pitcher of water, cold water's fine, and then I just rinse the piece of furniture. And I also use a brush when I'm doing that, something a little stiffer than this. So hold on just one second. I have this kind of brush for cleaning. I'll use this to then scrub. You don't need to scrub because you don't want to scratch up your wood, and these are pretty stiff. But you just want to use this to make sure you're getting all the oxalic out of the wood grain. So I rinse my stuff 2 or 3 times, and then I just take a squeegee, and you can drag it across to remove a lot of the water, and then I just use a towel or something to dry it. So that's the steps. But if you don't remove the finish first by stripping or sanding, you could sand. I didn't sand these pieces, and the reason being because they're veneer. It's very, very easy to sand through veneer, and then you've got another problem for yourself. So I do have some really good tips on easier ways to strip furniture, and I'm going to try to work on that this weekend and get those posted for you. So I hope you find this helpful. Thank you, Sarah. It was a great question, and I hope this helps. If it didn't, just message me and I can answer any questions you have. And thank you, Stephanie, for providing your experience and what's worked for you. I really appreciate it. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.